What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to fierce females, BigFemVader, about John Mayer's Sob Rock record, which is arguably one of my favorite records of all time. This goes up there with The Killer's Hot Fuss. This goes up there with my dad's albums. This goes up there with the Zeppelin albums, or Jimi Hendrix, or Cheap Trick, The Darkness, Permission to Land. Stevie Ray Vaughan's Texas Flood. This Sob Rock record goes right along with some of the greatest output. Billy Joel, River of Dreams, which I perpetually listen to. Holy fucking shit. But this, Buddy Guy, Muddy Waters, like this is shit that I listen to. Like in Common Kings, right? This this fucking album is right there. It's just as good, if not better, than any other of John Mayer's fucking albums, illustrious albums. And I don't think he's had a bad album since he was running through the halls of your high school in No Such Thing nearly over 20 years ago. Because I was in high school when that shit dropped.
I mean, you introduced me to something very interesting to listen to during the pandemic, which is what hurt me the most. It was one of those moments where it brought me back to high school and I was painting my nails black and I was just sitting there and I was getting Simply Red vibes from this album, which is kind of nice for me.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Which, I mean, it's kind of fun that you say that, right? Because he enlisted, you know, with Greg Fillinganes, right? Who was on Thriller, who was on so many great 80s records, right? And Simply Red, not trying to date or age them, but they were very prominent in the 80s, right? Like the fucking, Turning Back the Years and all that shit, right? Like good fucking albums, good fucking songs, right? So purposely, that's the shit, that John Mayer fucking got into during this time. And I know he has a place in New York. I also know that he has a place in Montana, right? I don't know where he hunkered down during the pandemic, but he hasn't had I guess, a public love interest since Katy Perry, right? Who has since gone on to marry and have a kid with Orlando Bloom, right? Kudos to her. But they also have a song together. It's called fuck. What's the song? You got to put it on the YouTube machine. There's a song with them together, and it's oh, Who Do You Love? Who Do You Love?
Okay.
And her vocals are so soft and so sultry, almost like velvet on that thing. And you can really feel the love that they had towards each other at that time. Hell, their love at the time is actually historic document here in the U.S. because they attended former President Obama's inauguration one of the years. I think the second time, the second term, right? And she dressed like Jackie Onassis, or Jackie Kennedy, right? Former JFK's widow, right? And he was a sub, and they were sitting maybe 3 rows back. So it's in the archives. When they play, like the recreation of that deal, and they replay it or whatever at his presidential library that is soon to come, right? That's the clip, and you're gonna see fucking John Mayer with Katy Perry. When people go through breakups, you don't think it's gonna be on fucking historical document, but it is, right? And he himself has done some of that too, where he's had Katy Perry and maybe Taylor Swift, kind of singing backing track on one of his songs. Maybe Jessica Simpson. He might have broken up with Janet Jackson, or she broke up with him right as he puts a Instagram live of him playing Human Nature after Michael dies, and he's contacted by the family to play the fucking memorial. Okay, so his relationships have been pretty publicized, right? He's probably, it's funny because most people are like, oh, John Mayer, just, basically fucker of starlets and shit like that. But you got to remember, hey, Eric Clapton right? Slow Hand, who I absolutely love. Who I was trying to pull off a fucking trip to New Orleans to go see this weekend. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Sorry, honey. Sorry, kids. But that lasted like 4 hours. But with that all being said, Slow Hand, right? Um, played in Creed, one of the greatest trios, power trios that had ever lived. One of my favorites, Who's Going Wrong, fucking Sunshine of Your Love, and White Room. Fucking hell, those shits still resonate to me today, right? So remember, Clapton was so fucked up that he releases one of his greatest songs, Layla, under a pseudonym called Derek and the Dominoes, because he didn't want to be seen in public because he was so fucking coke and heroined out, right? Well, you got to remember, who's Layla about? Oh, his best friend, George Harrison's wife. Okay? All right. Unfortunately, Tears in Heaven, right, was about his son Connor, who tragically fell like how many stories, right? How many hundreds of feet? You know, it's unfathomable, right? Well, Connor's mother was a model. Okay, he's married to a gal that's quite younger than him, probably by 40 years. And they have two kids, at least two kids, right? So everybody is like, "Oh, John Mayer, oh, John Mayer," and I was like, "You guys don't remember? Like, you guys, it's only face value, right? Phil Collins reference, right? It's only face value your love of what you say you love. And I'm not trying to call you on the carpet or anything, but also don't negate, right? And especially John Mayer has been putting out fucking consistent good records, good songs since its beginning, in fucking, Connecticut and then in through Georgia. He teamed up after he graduated Berklee School of Music that bore John Legend and shit like that, as an alumnus, went down to Georgia and, teamed up with this, his writing and band partner, Clay, I believe his name is. Well, Clay went on to co-found the Zac Brown Band after him and Mayer split up. So this shit is deep, man. Mayer is fucking deep, and I love him. So yeah, man. I think we get into the first track. Did I get it? Did I get it right? Did I get?
That was a good, yeah, Last Train Home.
Yeah. Okay. So Last Train Home, right? There we go. So Last Train Home is the first single and first music video from it. And I was kind of talking off air with you, BigFemVader, with there's a gal on YouTube. I believe she's English. I could be wrong, but he was releasing kind of Easter eggs in a story, right? And being at LA's Union Station. Consequently enough, it's where my family and I got COVID tested. Oh, by the way, speaking of COVID tests, this motherfucker's negative.
He's free.
So there you go. And thank you guys all for your support. You guys are amazing. I couldn't have done it without you. Couldn't have done it without my wife and kids. You, BigFemVader, you and your significant other. All of you guys, man. All the love, all the hate, all the fucking, just stuff, man. It got me through. So thank you guys, and I'm fighting. All right, I'm still fighting. But Last Train Home it feels like everybody loves Bruno Mars for his like nostalgia takes on whatever. This is it, right? And like I was saying, Mayer, before the record or the fucking video drops, right? He's releasing Easter eggs, and this gal out of the UK was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking pull that down and shit like that, and like try to decipher." And all she had was like the fucking Greg Fillingane's right? And If You Want to Roll Me, right? Like the first 8 fucking words of the song, right? So she was like, I'm going to dissect this and I'm going to write it what I feel it's going to be. And I thought it was absolutely fucking brilliant. And her version is pretty good. And then it kind of falls off, right? So John Mayer, who has probably been, he's always been responsive with his fans, right? Especially, DMs or making appearances and shit like that. He's always been good about that. But Mayer comes into her DMs and goes, "Hey, I think what you did was fucking awesome. So guess what? I'm gonna give you the track like fucking a week before everyone else gets it, and I want to know what you think. Please make a video." And it's a voice message which she plays on her fucking YouTube of Mayer, right? Who like what's his Phil Collins is probably one of the most like deadpan, charismatic, funny motherfuckers on the face of this earth, right? Um, yeah. So Last Train Home, it has a new edition because if you follow John Mayer, he's had the John Mayer trio with him and Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino, who, is the bass part for fucking Paul Young's Every Time You Go Away, the cover of Daryl Hall's fucking track, right? Steve Jordan has played with eons of people over the years, and also, Pino Palladino, whenever the Who fucking go on tour, well, it's this guy, Zach Starkey, right, on the drums. Zach Starkey, his dad is Richard Starkey. Oh, Ringo Starr. Yeah, yeah. And then
That's like, why are you kayfabing us?
Oh, yeah. No. I'm not going to kayfabe you. And then Pino Palladino fills in for the Ox, John Entwistle, who is essentially Jimi Hendrix of the bass guitar. So, he has like reputable players, Isaiah Sharkey, there's David Ryan Harris. Like, there's some great players behind John Mayer over the years, right? But Greg Phillinganes played on Thriller. Greg Phillinganes is, put him in the fucking Google machine. He has played on some of your favorite records, some of your favorite artists' favorite fucking records. Rock, pop, whatever. Jazz, fusion, whatever the fuck. And that's his fucking synth keyboard that you hear in the opening fucking chords of fucking Last Train Home. And again, like, if you want to roll me, you could roll me all night long, And I thought Mayer, kind of in his, breakup with Katy Perry, he basically had the lyric in "Still Feel Like Your Man," right? And he said it's the most depressing lyric he's ever written, right? That I still keep your shampoo in the shower in case you want to wash your hair, right? I know you bought yourself some more somewhere, but I do not really care. Because as long as it is there, I still feel like your man. That is the most like heart-wrenching for John Mayer. And I'm getting goosebumps when I fucking say it, right? Because everybody's been through a breakup. And I didn't think he could get any better. And he does, right? There's a line. I think no matter how you work it, things go wrong. I put my heart where I don't belong. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, God. Oh, fuck, yeah, it resonates. Most people say hits. I like violence. It's weird. Like, I like punchy, kicky, slammy stuff, but I don't like the yeah, it's slammy, right? Owen Hart slammy, people getting dumped on their head slammy, love it, right? But I put my heart where it don't belong. Fuck. I mean, like, Stain had, there's a song Epiphany, and you could say whatever you want about like Aaron Lewis and whatever, but there's a point where in Epiphany he goes, I put my Wait, I put myself inside your precious heart because it's always raining in my head. You know, the fucking it rips. It rips so fucking hard, right? That's there. I put my heart where it don't belong. It's there, and it like he says it so coyly that you almost miss it if you don't listen. Because like
See,
I think he goes into like a guitar flourish or into a hook or whatever right after he says it. Um, but it's masterful. It's a fucking masterclass in songwriting. You know, again, something befitting of somebody that went to the Berkeley School of Music, right? Which is the Juilliard essentially of songwriting, musicianship here in the states. So, fuck, man, Last Train Home. It's fucking phenomenal. What say you?
no, for me, it was one song mostly on this album resonated with me the most, and we're gonna get to it with the next one. But for this one, just for the intro, because it was the first one off the bat, I literally my heart crumbled. Like I said, I flashed back to that teenager, like sitting back in like a living room with the lights off and everything was dark, just reminiscing over everything in your head. But it's as if he's going over it in his head, but there's no end goal to it. He doesn't actually want to act upon anything. He's just thinking about everything that's happened, and it's just like, I want to wake up now. I don't like being in this dream anymore. I couldn't. That's why I said this is for me. Listening to this album during a pandemic, you didn't help the situation, dude.
I'm just saying, like, fuck, man. Like, to me, I get a lot more out of this. We like before I got the COVID, we wanted to do the fucking Wild Wild Country on Netflix, which I think we'll revisit at some point. But even
Are you
me,
sure you might get COVID again? It might come in a
yeah,
package this
maybe
time.
not. Maybe we won't take that last train home, you know, and maybe it shouldn't matter, but it does.
No, I couldn't do it. Literally, this came on, and I'll let Woods do his
No.
like analytical ramble afterwards, but I'm gonna be the emotional side for this.
Go for it.
I literally went back to the first time I ever left the country to go to Australia, sitting on a bloody Greyhound bus for 18 flipping hours from one side of Australia to the other, thinking over everything I could have done at that time just to make this situation better. You know that what the hell moment you had in your head a minute ago? That was all I had throughout this song. It was the fact that he was listing off all these things that could have happened and he should have done or he could have done better. But, does it really matter? Does anybody really matter? Like,
That's pretty good. You attached it to a professional fucking deal, and it's emotional, 100%. Leaving home is always scary. I mean, you don't reside in the country that you were born in now, which I do. I live in the same fucking state. You know, so it's familiar territory, right? Wow, that's pretty powerful. For me, yeah, for me, I actually went to every girl that I ever liked, right? And I kind of realized, even though I wanted it to be platonic, like yeah, I lived in paradox, right? Because I was like, I liked girls in high school, and at one point I was ginormous, right? Like a Dark Cartman from South Park, right?
aww.
Yes. All of my cheesy bits, yeah, fucking whatever, right? Um, and nobody wanted anything to do with me. I would literally get, I wish my boyfriend were like you, not you, but like you. Which is again one of those I put my heart where it don't belong fucking moments, right?
Oh,
And I dropped a ton of weight and a whole bunch of the no's turned into yeses. I was suddenly desirable, even to ones that I didn't desire anymore, right? So at some points, I wanted to be like my friends who, had girlfriends. They went to the movies and all the adolescent puppy love fucking things, right? But then I also felt like if I, consummated or even kissed a gal, right? And this is no religious pretenses. Like my mom raised me as a Buddhist, a Nietzschean Buddhist. We can do whatever the fuck we want, and then we just chant about it later, like Tina Turner does in her life, and what's love got to do with it? I mean, there's literally the if I chant in the days I read it someplace, right? That's Tina Turner. That's the same Buddhism that we did. And my mom idolized Tina Turner up until the day she died, right? So for me, I went to every fucking girl I ever liked, right? And I was just like, oh shit, like I might get her pregnant. Oh fuck, I can't. I'm an idiot. Like I can't have a kid. And then I also went back to like eighth grade sex ed. I don't know if I've told this story here, but I've told it at length.
Let's
But
go.
yes, so we thought like we had the permission slips, right? Your kids are going to see nudity, blah blah blah, whatever the fuck. And my my parents often didn't agree, and it's amazing to see that two kids, myself and my sister, were born out of that union because like I wouldn't put them together. They're together. Their ashes are together in my closet, and I feel fucking guilty as shit about that, right? So, with that being said, they both signed off on the fucking sex ed deal, and I was like, what? Now I already fucking knew it because I remember being, I mean, before kindergarten, I wanted Sesame Street, right? But it was like 3 o'clock in the morning in San Francisco, and it was the Nova birthing episode on fucking, public access TV where they showed everything. So I already knew where fucking babies came from. I knew the gist of what it looks like and what have you. Um, so with that being said, I was just like, cool. We get to look at porn, right? With all of the hot girls in our class, right? And that's what all the other kids were thinking as well, right? Then we got there, and teaching the class were two health studies or health science majors from UCLA who were freshmen, so they weren't too much older than us, probably by 4 to 6 years, maybe at most, right? And they looked like they might have like experimented with each other, and they looked like they walked out of the fucking Hugh Hefner, fucking Playboy Mansion, right? But naturally beauty, like they know whatever. And we were like, oh fuck, this is gonna be awesome, right? I'm dating myself, but they pop in the first fucking slide, and it's a dick with either gills or wings, like fish gills or wings. So my fat ass faints, but I'm in my desk, one with the little foot rail, whatever. So I fall. Obviously, I'm heavier than the fucking desk, so I fucking faint. And the only thing that brings me to is the top of the desk, which is now above me, like scorpion-like, reverse scorpion-like, and it hits me in the fucking head. And that's when I wake up. And guess what? They were like, "Oh, Adam Woods is expelled from the class because he's not mature enough to fucking handle this." So I had to go with like the special ed kids and watch like fucking Pete's Dragon or some shit for the rest of the week.
You got kicked out of sex ed.
It was only like a fucking 3 to 5 day course, and I fucked that up like 15 minutes into it.
Like, how?
Right. So again, it shouldn't matter, but it does. I went there. I went to all of the political drama that is going on, all of the mask versus non-mask, vaccinated versus non-vaccinated, lockdown versus no lockdown, right? Companies going out of business versus, fucking bigwig companies, having the best fiscal year that they had ever, right? And it's that. It shouldn't matter, but it does. My feelings towards the girls, their feelings towards me, people's feelings in general towards me or what I do or what I post, right? my wife's feelings towards me, my kids' feelings towards me, your feelings towards me, your significant
Anybody's
other.
opinion.
Yeah, and again, it shouldn't matter, but it does. It pisses you off to the fucking, pantheons of your fucking very existence, right? Somebody says some shit, and it's somebody that might be close to you, somebody that you might have trusted, right? And you're like, how the fuck? Like I didn't, whatever. But again, just like them, you and your opinion and your feelings towards it shouldn't matter, but it does.
That's why I said a flashback to a greyhound. Every post. I shouldn't care if I did.
Like it shouldn't matter if you get it to the WWE or not. It shouldn't matter if Fierce Females becomes the preeminent fucking all-female women's wrestling promotion in the world, or just wrestling promotion in the world, and it somehow, some way overtakes Impact, WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, whatever the fuck. Yes. It shouldn't matter, but it does. So everybody that you train, everybody that tells you you're the shits in the ring, everybody that tells me I'm the shits on the podcast, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, that thinks my COVID deal was fake, shouldn't matter, but it does.
You've got a government check to prove it, and it's not.
No, oh yeah. The people that are like, that I try to fucking extend olive branches to, that fucking slammed the door right on my face or hung up on me, shouldn't matter, but it does.
It hurts. It hurts so much.
So much. But I guess moving away from, kind of the not so fun, we have New Light, which, yes, and dude's at ringside says, "Hey, what's going on?" Joe Panther.
He's alive.
Yes.
Alive.
Yes. Joe Panther Jr. and Metal Geek. Go ahead and check them out at the Dudes at Ringside Podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, all of their social media pages. I've been a guest. Hopefully, BigFemVader becomes a guest. We'll see. So, again, New Light, right? This is one where my wife heard it the first time when we went to go see John Mayer at the tail end of 2019, right before the pandemic happened, right? And I didn't even know that it was, like, it's been out for 2 years. It's been out for like 2 years, right? As a single. I didn't know that he was going to include it on this album. But it had been probably about, 3 years since his, last album, which I thought was great. That has that, that line of still feel like your man and the shampoo in the shower and whatever. Yeah. So it's cool that they had it on here. The first time my wife hears it, it's at the Forum, and she hears it live. And John Mayer live, you may think his fucking recordings are good, but it's almost like the 1975, right? Their live performances might be better than the fucking recordings. Like, far fucking enough, right? It's for a very somber, monotone, almost like gut-wrenching fucking album, this kind of breaks it all up, and it's like a fucking dance track from like 1972. Like, it would be on AM radio with the Pina Colada song,
It's true.
and then followed by the Bee Gees, and hopefully something off of fucking Kiss Destroyer, but Kiss wasn't getting fucking airplay at the time. But also, fuck Gene Simmons and fuck Paul Stanley. I'm an Ace guy and I'm a Peter Criss guy. How fucking dare you, fucking get rid of them when they're at their worst, in the midst of a fucking drug addiction. Gene Simmons has a fucking, a fucking sex addiction. Paul Stanley has an ego fucking addiction, where, if I think it was Dave Grohl or somebody, was somebody prominent, right? They met Dave Grohl, right? I mean, met Paul Stanley in the studio, and the Kiss figures, one iteration or another. There have been several over the years, over the decades, but a Kiss figure, kind of came to the studio, right? and then this person's fucking kid is putting it together. Like, oh, you're the guy from the figure. You're an action figure. Holy shit! You're talking to me right now with my dad. Holy fucking shit! Right? And then Paul Stanley was like, "Ah, oh, you'd like one of these, right?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And thinking that Paul Stanley is gonna give the fucking action figure to the kid, and again, he's got a fucking full case of them, right? He goes, "We'll have your dad go down the street and buy you one." Fuck Paul Stanley. Fuck Gene Simmons. I love this. I fuck them. And then also the fact that they fucking got two guys, and they're amazing musicians. Bruce Kulick and the other guy, amazing fucking musicians, right? But you get them to don fucking, not Paul Stanley, but fucking Peter Criss, cat makeup, and fucking Ace Frehley's fucking spaceman fucking makeup and gear. Fuck you, man. What the fuck? Fuck you. Hard. Really hard. And dudes at Ringside says definitely follow them. 100%. Yeah. So with that all being said, New Life is a very, very upbeat, up-tempo fucking deal. I've done many face swaps for the fucking video. Put my face on John Mayer's deal.
Very Chromeo like, if anyone likes Chromeo.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. If you've seen the video, it's like super 80s, like almost glamour shots meets, the fucking, like video recorder and whatever green screen that you could have at that time. It's so wonderful. It's like a fucking Lisa Frank fucking Trapper Keeper notebook, with all the fucking fuzzy psychedelic bunnies. Yeah, it's good. What did you think of New Life?
Like I said, it was very, for me, I like Chromeo, so it was very Chromeo-like. It was finally nice to have something that was upbeat. So that was a nice breath of fresh air, to be honest. It kept me listening, because what was actually killing it for me was the amount of sad. I know it's called Sob Rock, but very emotional right now.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Well, we're gonna delve and twist, and that balloon that you have, that is your emotion right now. We're gonna fucking get some Epsom salt and fucking make your fucking emotions like the Dead Sea, and you're gonna fucking float on your emotions, because we have arguably my favorite track in the whole fucking album, Why You No Love Me.
I'm doing my anime angry face.
Okay. All right. Again.
Question marks.
Yes. I didn't think, especially it starts off with a very country twangy guitar. So at first I was like, fuck this. Right? I was like, I'm good. Right? After I remember I liked Brooks and Dunn for this one song, My Maria, where the fucking guy, right? Because it's almost like Beer Money, Brooks and Dunn, right? There's the one guy who's city, country, and the one guy who's, country, right? And in My Maria, the fucking city country guy hits this fucking note. It's like, My Maria, and he fucking, Aha's Take on Me's fucking lead singer just fucking goes for it. He's like fucking Bezos in fucking space. He's there, right? But then when I found out they were a bit racist, I was like, right? So that kind of put me off with Why You No Love Me. But then I heard the soft, sultry, comforting sounds of one John Mayer and his voice, right? And I was like, So, I listened to it, but then I also am listening to him right after the album came out, or right before, and he's talking with, it's on Apple Music's official YouTube channel, right? It's about an hour long, kind of podcasting style interview, which is in a diner that looks like the diner from fucking CeeLo Green's, fuck you, right? Um, and it's just like, he was like, I've been there before, right? I've literally said, why love me, as somebody's walking out the door, right? And it's so, like I was telling you, kind of off air before we started, it's every bit like after the fucking tears are shed, the fucking bullshit comes through the wall, the fucking, plates flew, the mascara smeared, your fucking, your soul is crushed, right? And one of John Mayer's earlier tracks, and I think it was about Jennifer Aniston from Friends, um, where it's very fucked up and tinged with like heartbreak, right? That was done to him, right? And again, I didn't think it got any fucking darker than that. But Why Love Me is after that, right? And as the person is literally walking out the door, you it's like that fucking response that your brain sends to your body when you die, right? Like one last, is everything fucking working? Oh, it isn't. Fuck it. And that's what morticians or people that work in the morgue or ambulances, they're like, oh, the fucking body just fucking shot up, or they farted, or whatever the fuck. Well, that's that one last fucking response to oh, check. Oh fuck, we're gone. Bye. We're out. Right? So that's what this is. I feel the whole fucking track is that one last, as they're leaving and the bags are packed and the fucking Uber or car or their fucking brother or their mom, who is picking them up, and you just kind of fucking outstretch your hand. And go, why you no love me? And they fucking shut the door behind them. Did I get it?
Mm-hmm, I get it. The thing is, you and Lisa, you still listen to it on an emotional level and you analyze it on an emotional level. But unfortunately, because of that horrible rift, why love me being said over and over in that childlike voice, it was just extremely off-putting. I couldn't get after the first bit. I was just like, I don't understand why this is happening. And the thing is, I like country music. It's actually one of my guilty pleasures. But I just, yeah, love Christian Kane. But it is one of my guilty pleasures. But I'm just I couldn't musically. It was so jarring to listen to. It kind of reminded me of if a 5-year-old was to pick up a guitar and did something wrong one day, and they're asking, "What, mommy? Why love me?" That sounded like what it sounded like to me. It had no emotional. I had no emotional connection to this song at all, apart from wanting to turn it off. I feel bad. I really do.
No, absolutely. This is a song that I kind of theoretically sang on December 25th, 2010, as I'm holding a 2-year-old Olin in my arms, and they're telling me my dad is dead, right? December 2nd to 4th, 2013, when my mom is found brain dead, right? And, we're told that first night is, little brain activity. There's 5%. Right, and then they did tests and whatever because her husband wanted to obviously, but I knew because I remember after Princess Diana passed away, or was to pass away, I remember us sitting in our apartment in Inglewood, and we had just bought a $7 TV from the fucking thrift shop, right? And that's what we fucking plug it into. I plug the potato in, put a bit of tin foil on the fucking antenna, right? And that's what we got, right? And I remember my mom, seeing how dire it was, right? They're she was like, she's not going to want to live because she's not going to be the same. If that ever comes to me, I don't want to live that's it. If I can't live as I am at the capacity that I'm at, It's done. Well, my stepdad wasn't privy to that. You wouldn't meet my mom for another 20 years, you know? So he wasn't privy to that. My sister and I were. And I don't know how much my sister remembers of that, but I remember, right? So, they're doing the test and everything like that. And, then we decide to donate her organs and whatever so they keep her alive. And then they clinically call her, pronounce her dead on the 4th, right? And everybody's prayers and whatever, a prayer, whatever. I felt guilty because, like, oh, the president, how am I going to tell you your prayers and good vibes and chanting and shit didn't work, And it's not shit. It's just, none of it works, Like, we failed you. Our family failed you yet again. And I lost my mom, right? So, on those, there was a bit of obviously insecurity, right? Abandonment issue. Why did they both leave 3 years apart from each other, same month, knowing I already hated fucking the holidays anyway because we were homeless and overlooked. We got our cousins fucking, what is it? Stockings because nobody knew we were coming because we would show up with no other place to go. So I already hated the fucking holidays. My parents both loved it, and they died the month of it. They also both died under the Obama administration, which is here nor there, but I think it's fun. I think it's absolutely fun. But yeah, so for me, this is me telling them, and even the hallucinations that I got where I saw them at the pearly gates wearing white, and they were walking towards the gate, and they were like, I followed them, and they were like, "Fuck you," along with all of my other dead relatives. They're like, "Fuck you."
Not your time yet. Go back.
Yes, right. And as I'm kind of descending back here, why you don't? I love this song. This is my favorite song on the album. It's me. It me.
You could love it. I musically just couldn't get out. I couldn't get past it. When a song doesn't hit me within the first 30 seconds, I'm just like, no.
Okay. So, I guess much like A New Light before it, we have Wild Blue, which is a little bit more upbeat country, right? But also sounds a bit of like Don Henley's records, of the 80s after, the sabbatical that he had with the Beatles. I mean, not the Beatles, the Eagles, I'm sorry. Confusing my fucking rock bands and apparently insects and fucking birds and shit. Eagle and Beatles. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
You tried, is what you did.
I tried. I absolutely tried. I couldn't say that in fucking Philadelphia, right? Where they're Eagles fans or whatever. And like, hey guys, it's the fucking NFL Philadelphia Beatles. Like, no, that doesn't work.
Boo! Burn him! Burn him!
It doesn't work. But yeah, Wild Blue is the most recent single/video released by John Mayer. It follows New Light and Shot in the Dark, which was the second one, and then Wild Blue. And it's kind of the video shot almost like similar to the New Light, where there's a lot of like green screen action and shit like that, which I love. That's the era that I grew up with. So
the MTV era, is that what you're saying? Yeah, every video needs to look like the MTV era.
Fucking, straight up now tell me the fucking Paul Abdul with the fucking the cat.
Oh, opposites attract. I have to.
Oh, yes, exactly. Straight up, yes. Why am I fucking up my Paul Abdul? I shouldn't, because she's great. She's absolutely fucking great. Yeah, it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Opposites attract, right? And then also, which I think kind of ended her career, was Rush, right? Because she's lying in a field and whatever, and they kind of Photoshop her body to make her look slimmer than she actually was at that time. right? This is a former Laker girl, dancer, now artist and whatever, but like it was super, they fucking canceled her for something that she didn't have, it was the record companies and shit like that in hindsight, and then she doesn't reappear, the whole, until like there's like the verse with Emilio Estevez, right? Charlie Sheen's older brother, Martin Sheen's, the only one that wants to actually claim the fucking Cuban roots, right? Estevez. That
I
whole
know.
that whole fucking family, right? Carlos Estevez
So
is Martin. No, it's Martin Estevez, right? Is Martin Sheen. Then you got Emilio Estevez, right? Mighty Ducks and what have you, and then you've got Carlos Estevez, Charlie Sheen, Tiger Blood, right? That guy, 2.5 Men, Carlos Estevez,
okay.
right? So until they got divorced, we didn't hear from her, and then after the divorce, and this is a pre-TMZ era, we didn't hear of her again until American Idol, where she's a judge. And then she leaves because of the scandal that dude fucking lied on her and said that, she was using, she had a crush on him and using her influence to help him win, which is absolute bullshit. But she suffered, lost like a fucking multi-billion-dollar or whatever. And like American Idol started the fucking revolving, chairs that included like, I think they've got fucking Katy Perry.
Everyone.
John, they had Steven Tyler, who, funny enough, like we were on our way to CBS Studios to drop my cousin off when he was working with Dancing with the Stars. My sister sees this dude in another car, like a lane over, with this cool ass pipe, like an ivory pipe, that looked like what is it, the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? But it's detailed and whatever. And then when we fucking pull up to the next stoplight, we look over, it's Steven Tyler. And that motherfucker was like, and we're like, hey, Steve, how are you? He was good. And whoever was driving him kept it, the same fucking speed limit so we could talk to him. We talked to him for like 5 to 8 blocks, right? And you're like, where are you going? And it was like, oh, it's my place in Hawaii. It's like, oh, fuck, that's cool, right? It's like, how's American Idol and that shit? And he's like, fuck, I love the fact that we make, people's dreams come true, but I hate the fact that we fucking kill people's dreams. I'm not the guy to do it. I've had that happen to me countless times over my career. And he's saying it in Steven Tyler voice, which was amazing. They're like a fucking heart of angels. And he was cool. And then after, like, we were done, they just drove off, continued to LAX, to his place in Hawaii, which he brought, with total disclosure, and he said it, he brought because of the American Idol money. So yeah, fun shit.
Jealous.
That's why I like living in LA, because if I was in Omaha, Nebraska, I don't know if this would happen. I don't know, like this shit just happens in LA inexplicably. The friends that I have, the opportunities that have been created or I've created myself, with help, obviously. Yeah, I can't believe it.
You can, if you want to.
I don't want to.
Find an island somewhere.
I'll go everywhere, right? As evidence with the trip, my uncle's, funeral trip to Georgia, 9 states. I'll go anywhere, right? I'm gonna come see you guys, or you guys come see me out here. I can
Once
go
borders are
anywhere.
open properly, I will be on all the planes.
Okay, that's cool. But yeah, I will.
Dismember me and put each one of my limbs on a different plane and just fly me to different parts of the world.
We're not going to dismember you. That's not an option. That's not a thing.
Sprinkle the greatness over the
You got too much living. So, speaking to somebody who almost died 12 times, or at least felt like it, at the very least felt like it, because people dispute whether I actually went through it or not. Fuck.
It was true.
you saw me, and I still wanted to do the fucking podcast. But
I
like,
called it before it even happened. So everyone, if you want psychic readings, just come straight to me. I know exactly what you're
yeah,
feeling.
fuck the Dionne Warwick and fuck the Miss Cleo. Come to BigFemVader, because if she didn't have enough money with merch and incoming YouTube revenue for Fierce Females clips, yeah, here's another revenue stream. That's another, I wouldn't say gimmick, because you're not like the Shawn Michaels who pissed everyone off and then went to a particular religion and now he's getting it. But ask Brian Kendrick or a lot of people. Are like,
I just know everything.
yes, yes. So,
It's better than Unagi.
yeah, absolutely. So, your thoughts on the Wild Blue?
My thoughts on the Wild Blue was the same as yours. I mean, I was very, very happy to see an upbeat track from what is going on. If that keeps happening, we'll review the rest of the tracks.
Gotcha.
That makes me happy. I don't like the simple fact that I like the fact that the tone has changed. And I also, just like you, enjoy the use of the green screen. Even though, because I'm not quite sure when some of the videos were filmed, if that was an excuse because of the pandemic, genius. Like, if that wasn't meant to happen, I'd like to see what the original videos were supposed to look like. I'm actually quite curious.
I don't
Really?
No, fuck. It's there. No,
I'm
no,
a
no.
little bit curious.
Look, here's the thing. Like, I love Kevin Smith. I love all of his movies. Like Yoga, like the good shit, like Clerks and like Chasing Amy's and the fucking. I even like obviously Jersey Girl, you know, and that was the time, the first run of Bennifer, right? Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, and right after they had that bomb with Giggly or Geely or whatever the fuck, right? And then they appear just briefly in Jersey Girl, right? I love all this shit, but they did the Jay and Silent Bob fucking reboot, and I'm all like, it's cool to see all those characters all these years later, but I don't want to reboot. I want to if you want to do a new movie and pick up where I think Clerks 2, you know, left off, with like Rosario Dawson as a love interest and whatever, I'm game. Let's do that. But the reboot, but I liked it. You know, and all of these people are so much bigger now, right? Like fucking Jason Lee, post My Name is Earl. We've got, you know, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, who are perpetually in Kevin Smith's movies. Even, you know, Kevin Smith with all of the movies and shit that he's done, and Jason Mewes, you know, after his drug addictions and shit like that. Like, it's so cool to see. They actually had a movies pop up here in LA during the pandemic, and I fucking missed it. That was the first thing that I did, like, in probably a couple months, right? To go to movies, and I fucking got an adult fucking Capri Sun and an autographed fucking poster from Muse and Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, when he had the heart attack, it was at a theater like 5 minutes up the road, 5 to 10 minutes up the road. Yeah, so I love that guy. So I don't even know where I was going with that. Fuck it.
You don't like change.
Yeah, I don't. I do, but I don't. Like, I want to be a little bit more successful. Some people say that I already am. I don't know, you know, but I definitely want to be a better storyteller.
You are a good storyteller.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I could get better. Like, I listen to like Joe Rogan and like Joey Diaz, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I got some work. I got work. Norm Macdonald, R.I.P. Oh, talk about fucking storyteller. Oh my god, I just rewatched Dirty Work for the first time in like 15 years. It is still good. Oh my god, it's like, he's so brilliant. I've been watching Norm Macdonald clips so much. George Carlin, fuck yes. You know, yeah. So just that. I want to be a good storyteller. I actually, let's see. Wait, what happened? Oh, and this fucking asshole. Let's bring him up.
Oh, wait, what? Aww.
he says, everyone knows you're lying about having COVID twice. You attacked me over a picture on my wall, took it personally. Okay, yeah,
Hi,
bye.
bad person.
There
No
you go.
negativity. Leave my safe space.
Blocked. Blocked, but also because I blocked him, I don't. Oh, I hit the comment. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's gone now.
yeah. So that is somebody
Get
that's
away
been
like a fart.
a mentor, right? This is somebody who had both legs amputated and is battling stage 3 cancer. And he put up something on his wall on Facebook that said, everyone's replaceable. Well, I was just coming out of COVID. I was like, don't you dare say I'm replaceable. Everyone is. And I was like, no. And here's the thing. Even Don McGuire, right? Who puts the file shit and whatever and tries to attack me at every pass over the last 2 weeks since that post. And yes, it was on his personal page. I shouldn't have done that, but I was feeling kind of footloose and fancy free, if you will, right? But the fact that he hasn't died after having both legs amputated and stage 3 cancer, right? He has a wife, he has a kid, he has kids, right? He is a prominent photographer and journalist and podcaster out in Missouri, right? So there's a reason why he's come out of all of the fucked up shit that he's going through. Because he's not replaceable. I don't want anybody to replace Don McGuire. And I also don't want anybody to replace me. So I'm making myself fucking irreplaceable.
Nobody is replaceable. We're all humans. We all have different, what's the word, presence to offer the universe.
Yeah. Everyone knows. And he leans a particular political preference that makes it okay for him to, it makes him emboldened to say that. Because his president beat COVID in like 2 weeks. So, and I mean, he's American. He was America's president too. That is true. But this last time around, I didn't vote for either one of them. The guy that's in there now and the guy that was there before. So, total disclosure, I voted, but not for them. Right? So, but whoever you vote for, kudos to you. Vote, spend money, don't spend money, save, invest in stock, invest in crypto, don't make an NFT, don't make an NFT, start a podcast, don't start a podcast, wrestle, don't wrestle, whatever you do it well. Okay? That's it. Yeah. So, yeah, he was one of the ones that I was referencing earlier. Like, why you don't love me? Well, that happens, So, we have the second video and single of this season of Sob Rock, and that is Shot in the Dark. And don't be confused by Ozzy Osbourne's song of same title, because they are both great songs, but they have different tones to them. And I think, just like that comment, right? Literally trying to shot in the dark to kind of poke at you, right? Comments that happen, people that say mean things, bullies, bosses, spouses, love quarrels. Those are all shots in the dark, man. Which also like previous song, right? Shouldn't matter, but it does. I think it says the same thing, but in a different take, which is amazing to me, because like I was saying with the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, I would have liked a better, like a different storyline, right, to it, even though, some things are different. The first one was very like weed and stoner comedy, and then now weed is legal. So it's a cool little fucking take, right? But somebody that could take arguably a similar concept and go about it the same way in literally the same time frame to put it on the same album, I think is amazing. No.
Not yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're better. You're better. You're great.
Yeah, no, here. No, I completely agree with you. I think that they're both a little bit similar. But one of the things that I didn't flash back to a Greyhound bus on this song. What I did say to myself, that horrible moment of 2020 that happened within wrestling that we now bold italic and underline with a hashtag. If there wasn't a song that you could write as an entrance theme music to play for this era and this movement, this would be that song. I'm sorry, John Bayes, to label you with that horrible. But if there was a song that could have been played on repeat for those 7 days, it would have been this song for me.
No, that's absolutely possible, especially. I guess in the news, in the wrestling world, the Cauliflower Alley, right? They just completed their festivities, in Las Vegas. And for those who don't know, Cauliflower Alley is essentially the closest thing to a pro wrestler, even MMA fighter union as you get. At least that's what they purport themselves to be, right? Now, I'm not trying to, dig on anybody's political preferences, but let's just say the powers that be at Cauliflower Alley tend to lean kind of the same way one Don McGuire does. They're politically skewed, and they don't listen. Like, basically, if you're a new wrestler, even though they have a Future Legends Award, which some pretty prominent people, like Melissa Anderson, right? The former Ayesha Saeed in Impact, right? Like, cheerleader Melissa, right, has won that award in the past. So many reputable people and wrestlers and talent have won that award, what have you, over the years. But if you have heard from anybody that is a new wrestler, they're not very open to anything but, like, what's her name? Nyla Rose will not be welcome there at all, right? Because of who she is, right? So, a transgender female. I'm not speaking out of school. That's, she's spoken about it openly. AEW has put out pieces and everything like that. So you don't have to theorize. I'm not speaking out of school. But they had an incident where they had Jason Rance, right, who used to live with, if you're a follower of the MLW podcast, like I was during its early days, Jason Rance, QT Marshall, now in AEW, and Larry Zbyszko, the living legend, right, Bruno's former protege. Basically, they rented a condo. But QT Marshall got into some trouble with, not QT Marshall, Jason Rance, I'm sorry. Why did I say QT? Jason Rance got into some trouble with underage minors in terms of sexually explicit things and whatever, and convicted, like, in Florida, no less, where, like, it's kind of footloose and freedom and all that jazz, right? So he gets convicted, don't know what happens. It's almost like the Nick Gage, right? But Nick Gage, different charge, right? He comes back or whatever. And then he's wrestling a guy here in California named Billy Blade, right? And Billy Blade essentially got Me Too on our version of the Me Too movement here in Southern California, right? Along with Joey Ryan and a couple others, right? So they did a match that involved a 14-year-old. I don't know the gender of the 14-year-old, but a convicted child molester was welcomed with open arms to a crowd that's largely Save Our Children when they want to be. And I know people that were there legends that we've all looked up to, and some of them that are from an era that maybe didn't have TV. It was only radio, or it was just, regional TV from studio wrestling of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and there's not a lot of footage that still exists, right? Absolutely applaud both men for their hard work, right? Just saying. So yeah, like, fuck, man. Like, talk about the Me Too and Shot in the Dark. Like, like, I wish that 14-year-old had this theme song. If you're going to attribute that to the UK, the scene after that, and the victims of such, then I'm also going to adopt that for him and the victims of both Billy Blade and Jason Rance. And again, I'm not speaking out of school. This is public record, folks. You just have to look. And it's funny, the whole, Save Our Children, right? And the Epstein stuff is fucking ghastly. All of that shit is ghastly. But I I wonder if they ever asked their grandparents what age they were when they were married or had their parents, right? I mean, I know somebody pretty close to me who had her first kid at 12, 20s or whatever, when the guy was older. I think they were. I think they married. They married at 10. She was 10, and she was pregnant by 12. Right, but Save Our Children. And again, they're watching one child molester, one Me Too, domestic abuser, mental abuser, and then having a 14-year-old have a spot in the match. And we'll go like, oh, I'm going to the Ted Nugent concert. Going to the Ted Nugent concert. Well, one of his wives, 15, 16, 14, something like that, right? And he like, oh, her parents thought it was better to live with a rock star in all my debauchery than fucking stay at home being poor. I think she's from an immigrant household, Asian descent. I might be wrong, but yeah, thought it'd be better to live with a fucking 20-year-old fucking rock star who's banging everything. Worse.
How do you know this might be the right one?
Jesus Christ. Okay, you go. I've ranted long enough, so you go.
No. I want you to keep going because this is entertaining for me.
Yeah, okay. So Till the Right One Comes is an ode, right? Like some people, after seeing something on Instagram, right, aesthetically pleasing person, right, they'll write in the comments, "Oh, I'm gonna make you my future ex-wife, future ex-husband." This song is that. This song is the embodiment of that, right? It's an ode. It's a love letter to a love that hasn't happened yet. Like, it doesn't exist in terms of tangible, you can grab, you can feel form. It hasn't happened yet. You know?
At least you got to say it's nice. I'm very different.
Oh, okay. Let me get your take.
So I just finished watching a very interesting documentary movie series thing on Netflix called Clickbait. And to me, this was very, very stalkerish. I mean, I know the person doesn't exist, and the person's not a real person, but the level of which the emotion is in this song kind of sounds to me like that final letter that your stalker writes, just before you disappear. That's what it was like for me. Or did I just completely go off the tangent when I listened to this song?
Yeah. No. Somebody else.
See, I can do it too.
Somebody else came in the comments under a different pseudonym. So.
Oh, the same person.
Yeah.
I have loads of people in high places. I can find your IP address. Please don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anywho.
It's fine.
Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. So that's. I mean, in terms of Till the Right One Comes. Like, I think that's my take, and I don't like. everyone is good, and because the time that we spent on some of the other ones, it's a little bit more, obviously like elongated, right? But this is no less important, and for the mosaic that is Sob Rock, right, and where John Mayer was at this time, um, yeah, I think it's fitting, and its placement on it, third from the last, right? The seventh song out of a 10-song album. Yeah, I like it.
I did like it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It just came off a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit
yeah,
like Picasso, ear cutty. I miss you. I want you to exist. Almost like what's the Greek mythology when
wait,
who allows them to mold their perfect person? Aphrodite gives everybody
okay,
the wish of molding their perfect person. It's like all these perfect attributes are like listed. But the person, you can't just make or create a person in your head. You have an envision and opinion of what you may want, but it's just like it was really very like almost like Frankenstein. This is like a love letter from Frankenstein. That's what it was like for me.
yeah, yeah. I guess also when you said like the weird stalkery whatever, I guess the most prominent song of that sort is the Police's "Every Breath You Take," right? Which could be construed as a love song, but also like somebody like peeking through your window, almost like Seven in WCW.
Not the
Yes,
only one.
brought it right back to wrestling. That's what I do. Now, of all of the sorrow and everything like that, I think we have two songs that are very light, very airy, almost like an Asian pastry, right? The dough's so fluffy that it feels like air and melts in your mouth. Because we've got "Carry Me Away," "Carry Me Away," and this is like so saccharine, cotton candy esque, in terms of the depiction that it has. At least that's the way it resonated with me. It was absolutely just fucking amazing. Like, it's a very, like, to me, I think it's like the perfect road trip song, right? That especially it's a scenic drive down the coast with the one you love, right? And you just continue to go, and you say fuck everything, like if the bills are not there, if the car is running improperly, if the money might not get dropped into the accounts, it's just like, you know, you're living for this moment. Like nothing else matters.
No, I know. I like the fact that you said cotton candy. To me, that's it was the last two tracks on the album for me was almost like a nice way to cap it off. I don't know, like we spoke ages ago about Spice World, about Josie and the Pussycats. Now, if anybody has downloaded or has downloaded, does anyone own the soundtracks to those movies? The last two tracks of Spice World were like this for me. They were kind of like very nice ways. Ladies a Tramp and Viva Forever. Like they were just two very nice ways to cap off like a story of an album because the album goes from these girls who are fighting girl power and everything. They go through fun and they maybe have to say their goodbyes. And even this album itself, it's almost like a complete depiction of how his emotional state is through all these transition periods and the good and the bad. And then the last two are like almost kind of like a full circle. And that was for me, I flashed back literally to the Spice World for these last two tracks.
Yeah, yeah, and Mir actually talks about it in that same Apple, 1 hour podcast that or interview that I was talking about earlier, referenced earlier, where he's just like, we know as artists, not every song is going to hit, right? We know when we're playing a live show, you have to have peaks and valleys, right? Because if every song is a hit after hit after hit, it's like how old wrestlers think of like hardcore or ECW or XPW, right? It's just like it's a fucking car crash. It's two dogs fucking on the side of the road, and after over and over and over of seeing it, it gets old. The newness isn't new anymore. CM Punk referenced it. I think when AEW went off air and he's there with I think Kazarian and Christian Cage, right? And it was like, I thank you, I love you, and I know I'm savoring this right now because I know there's going to be a point where you're not going to pop when fucking my theme song comes on. You're not going to be clamoring for ice cream bars. You're not going to be, buying shirts. It's happened before. But you guys have stuck with me, so like, here I am with you, right? And that's carrying me away, right? It's just like you're carried by the virtues of others beyond yourself, right? Whether that's your romantic interest or your spouse or your family, your dog, your cat, your best friend, a movie that you watch, something that brings you solace. That's the calm hand in the storm, right? It's the rudder that sends you due north. It's just that north star. It sends you where you need to be, right? It's your compass, mental, emotional, moral, what have you, right? So yes, like that's it. All right.
Even though the sadness didn't hit me this much this time, I kind of just like the Capel ending. It filled me with joy more than sadness.
Yeah,
it's a nice way.
It is. And then rounding out, number 10 of 10 is All I Want Is to Be With You. And I mean, as somebody that likes country, I know you'd appreciate this, but it very much reminded me of like a spaghetti western in terms of its starting kind of notes, its opening notes. And yeah, it's just, it's basically, the one last appeal to whoever the muse is, right? One last appeal. And basically showing all your cards, right? If Kenny Rogers the gambler is, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. This is just laying them all out there. And whether it's Uno, Baccarat, or fucking gin rummy, war, whatever. This is Mayor showing all of his cards, and basically leading up to like everything that I've said in this album, any other albums, any other performances, has been this. Is all I want is to be with you. That's it. It doesn't get any more clear than that. It doesn't become any more succinct than that. And I think it's a cherry on top of the sundae. It is the bow that the gift is under, right? It ties everything in so neatly that if you didn't know where, he is at this moment, almost screw all the 9 other fucking tracks on this record and you get this one, right?
I could have listened to this one and been happy, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it's that, and again, like he's just showing his cards, and I don't think he cares if anybody listens or doesn't listen, if anybody feels it or doesn't feel it, which for an artist, that's very free, right? Just to go like, this is what I have, I'm going to present it to the world, and if they like it, they like it, right? If they don't, they don't. But I think, I like it. I like it, and it's in a way that's different from New Light. It's a way that's different than Wild Blue, right? But it's just like it pulls everything together. and you don't get the Greg Gaines. Like, imagine the dichotomy, right? Get Greg Gaines in Last Train Home, right? The first, like the first like opening notes, right? And then this one seems like, off of a fucking John Wayne movie, Clint Eastwood movie, like, Tombstone or whatever. Like, this is the old sheriff. This is the old gun, the hired hand, the fucking quick draw McGraw, kind of riding off into the sunset with his bandolera on his back. And yes, the fair maidens are basically waving their white
handkerchiefs, dropping at his feet.
Yes, and just whatever, and he's just kind of thinking about, like, I survived the duel, and none of these other elapses matter. Whoever I'm going to at the end of this journey, this is all I want. This is what it was all for. This all I want is to be with you.
So, what is your rating out of 10?
This is like an 87.
You can't. That's not how it works. I know you know.
Count. Woman.
You can't do 87. You only get up to 10.
You want to do pass or fail? I get that. This is totally a pass.
Pass or fail.
Pass. So pass. We wouldn't be I've heard some shitty albums, right? And if this was a shitty album, I don't know if we'd be doing this. But we might also do it because I've got a weird sense of humor that we would just go, oh, fuck. But I don't think it's entertaining. This one takes you on a journey, like highs and lows, right? And again, like the opening notes of, Last Train Home. You got Maren Morris, if you want a little gem, she has a new song called Bones, right? Well, they play it at the Country Music Award, I believe, something country, right? And John Mayer is playing the guitar and doing the backing vocals. He looks like he's having the time of his life, right? And what was it? Maren Morris. The only thing that I knew her from before was that, I don't know the DJ's name, but there was that The Middle. Why don't you just treat me in the middle? No, nothing.
I just didn't expect you to bust out the tune. I was a bit surprised.
As soon as it left my mouth, I wanted it back. But I thought that was like the fucking person on the news, whether they're the sports person or the weather person, they have the fucking teleprompter and the fucking, stylus or whatever the fuck, and they draw like a fucking genitalia, on the 10 o'clock morning news.
Say this.
That's what I just did in terms of singing. It's not my forte. I talk. Yeah. But that's, again, I don't, to perfectly illustrate what the intent of this record is, it is exactly where John Mayer is at the time. And I want to believe that he was in Montana rather than New York. And this is not a New York record. This is not a Los Angeles record. This is not a London record. I want to believe he was in Montana or deep in the fucking South. Deep in the South region of, like New Orleans or Texas or Alabama. But then again, you would have got a little bit more soul out of it, which John Mayer has shown himself to be very soulful at times. I mean, Eric Clapton has called up B.B. King, Buddy Guy, Muddy Waters, when they did the tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan on Austin City Limits, where Stevie Ray Vaughan basically, had made a name. There's a famous performance where, his string breaks in the middle or whatever, and he switches fucking guitars like nothing and doesn't skip a beat, right? So, and Stevie, like his brother Jimmy, right, of the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Tough Enough, like that was the song, right, amongst many others. For John Mayer to actually like play with Jimmy and Bonnie Raitt and all of these blues legends that knew Stevie, and to play Stevie's part, and but also add his own fucking, like style to it. It's amazing. You go back to again the Michael Jackson deal where he plays Human Nature. Tell me if that's like not like talk about tearjerker, soul stirring. Fuck me, man. And even like at the end, he does the Michael whatever, whether he means to do it or not. That's just where he went. He's got his. I think he's in tune with something. And it's a gift, and he gives us these gifts every time he drops an album. And maybe the political climate might not be receptive. Maybe the record industry might not be conducive for us to receive this record. Maybe he said something off, or he dated somebody that you like or didn't like and screwed them over, literally and figuratively, right? Maybe you think he's a fraud. Okay. But the work, when all the dust settles, it's your work that is left. It's the impact that is left upon people, right? And that's all you got. And I think every record has done it, but this one is unprecedented. It's unprecedented, and I think it's a perfect timestamp. If here in the States there were two, we're kind of post 9/11, right? So the anniversary. There's two songs really that fucking went on to another stratosphere, and it's a perfect timestamp for that time. It's Paul McCartney's Freedom, which I think is fun because he's not American, but that's the American way. As much as we say, we want our independence or whatever, we have Simon Cowell basically producing and executive producing two American game shows, America's Got Talent as well as American Idol. So Idol, and if we've got talent, and Mel B's been on the show. There's been, like we have this like America's Got Talent's panel. The host Terry Crews. We've got Simon Cowell, Howie Mandel, Heidi Klum, and God, I forgot the other one. I don't think Mel B is there. Oh, Sofia Vergara. So we've got a German and a Colombian and Simon, who's British, right? 3 out of 4 judges to tell us if we have talent or not, or haven't been born here. Which, that's fine. We've had Arnold as the governor here in California. We had Ted Cruz.
Yeah, but Artie is the American dream.
Yeah. The American dream is very British. We had Ted Cruz when the fucking power went out in Texas. He was going down to Mexico, but he hates illegals, and we had Newsom, Gavin Newsom here. He just went through the recall. While people were starving and going homeless and losing their jobs, defaulting in loans and everything like that, and having mass mandates enforced on them by him. He was going to lavish dinners and throwing lavish parties, to which his kids got COVID. So no, it's the fucking George Carlin bit. It's a big fucking club and you ain't invited. No matter what side you're on, right? You just have to love yourself, love each other. That's the only way. Right?
Love this podcast.
Yeah, love this podcast. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Important Worlds podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. Actually, it's only 3 places: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. kind of getting sorted out the other stuff, but there's other projects in the works. But I'm not alone in this. We have the more prosperous, more prominent BigFemVader Ayesha Raymond, and yes, I did put her link tree below in the description. But where can they find you and all the amazing things that you're doing on the interwebs?
On the interwebs, you can type in @BigFemVader into every social media platform possibly you can think of, or Fierce Females Wrestling or Fierce Females Glasgow to see exactly what we'll be doing quite soon.
Yes, absolutely. Follow it, and then subscribe to the YouTube. So you will recognize a lot of the names that have competed for Fierce Females in the past. It is astounding, absolutely astounding. So again, go ahead and check it out. I love her, you love her, we all love her. Hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. But yeah, if you don't believe her, if you don't believe me, to subscribe to this podcast or hers, well, fellow WWE Mae Young competitor, much like Vader, BigFemVader, one Zeta Zhang will convince you, hopefully.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According